The Moondrop Concerto. Let's talk about it. Now, this is a $379 product with a MEMS driver in the lows due to the nature of how MEMS work, and a planar IEM in the highs. I've had this at my desk for a while as this product kind of got discontinued and is coming back, so I've had a lot of time to think about this IEM. Let's start by talking about the build quality, but first I want to give a big shout out to Apos Audio for the opportunity to review this and the support that they give me. They've been great to deal with, and they're a great retailer here based in the States. As far as the tip selections go, this is all you get. Kind of sparse, which isn't great for tip rolling and for those that like multiple tips with the $379 product. The case is fine. I don't feel it's as nice as the same case used on other IEMs around this price point, but it's a fine case. It feels like about the same price as on the Cadence. They're Moondrop's new $200-ish IEM. So yeah, it's a fine case, but nothing exceptional. As of the recording of this video, the Concerto is $379 and the Dusk is $399, but you can find Dusks for a lot cheaper in the used market. Now, the Dusk, you can remove the transducers and have the cable here you can look at. The cable is very supple. It feels nice in hand. It's a premium feeling cable. Whereas the cable on the Concerto, don't get me wrong, this does have the pretty kind of DD hi-fi style end, but I think outside of that, that's about the only thing that I prefer on the DD hi-fi cable. The mic button is essentially the same, no major difference here. I mean, it just feels overall as an inferior cable, but I mean, some people might like the design of the Concerto, but if I had to give my opinion, I would say no. Now, look at the design of this. The Concerto is extremely small. It kind of has this sparkly resin feel, and I want to be really clear, this is resin. It has not a cheap, but not a great feeling of quality. Like I do feel if I stepped on this or rolled over this with a computer chair, which does happen on very rare occasion for me, that it would break. And it's, the end of it is metal, but the actual shell part of it is resin, which is not ideal. Although, I mean, it looks pretty for what it is, but it's really small for my ear, and for me personally, fit is very important. So if this were to break for any reason, you basically be out the entire IEM, as you can't really swap out the cable easily. I'm not sure if that's a MEMS technology issue, but I did want to point that out, that I feel that this is kind of a flaw. So how does this sound? This sounds rich, impactful, and nice. It is a good sounding product, and I feel like it is a good implementation of the MEMS driver technology, but I don't feel it's the best. I feel that form factor for this guy kind of kills it for me personally. Now, form factor is something that's very unique. Some people are really gonna like this style of form factor and find it comfortable and light and beautiful. But I mean, if you're looking at it and you want to know my opinion on it, you've known it. So now let's talk more sound. Now, the bass is nice on this unit, and I do find it impactful and rich. When I compare this sonically to other products, I don't really find it overall great. I feel that the upper air and treble of this IEM is not the best part of it. So for people that really like bass and want something interesting and rich, this is a good thing. Let's talk about the Moondrop app. The Moondrop app from my latest go this morning is not working still on this, which means that you can't really play around with EQ. You can't really mess about with things on this, which is a massive, massive disappointment, as this is a USB-C product designed for me to what I believe to be used on your phone. So it kind of has a lot of design flaws, software flaws, and other things. Let's look at some graphs, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, let's look at the graph of the Moondrop Concerto. It is a nice looking graph. It hits my target quite well. And I mean, it's overall a solid bass, like almost kind of like a little bit of a bass tuck, but again, it's not bad. Just a late rise of bass. but it's a nice, impactful, rich bass, and the quality of the bass is nice. But that's kind of where it ends. Like the upper treble, like the air and the way that it sounds in ear is not super great. Like I feel that this should be done with microplanars. I feel kind of microplanars using like the P7, the Meteor, and other IEMs might be a better call for people to utilize. This is a similar tuning to something like the Aria. Like Moondrop has other IEMs, and this lineup has a little bit more warmth. I mean, I probably would give the edge to the Concerto, but again, form factor is a huge thing. I kind of feel this is about that same level as the Cadence. I do feel this is a nice IEM with some nice things going on with it, but it's not going to be the IEM for everyone. If we look at other things, this is both the Dusk DSP and the regular Dusk. I like the Dusk DSP a little bit more. It has a little bit more bass, a little bit more of a cleaner tune to it. And I think the Dusk DSP is a fantastic DSP IEM if you're in the market for a comfortable DSP style IEM that can be serviced as needed. Now, the nice thing about the Dusk DSP is it has, let's get rid of the Dusk DSP in the red, is it also has the regular DSP IEM, which a lot of people really like. I think it's okay. And so yeah, I do feel that like other options would be good, like the Performer 7, which you'll notice that like for me, the Performer 7 has a little bit better bass, a little bit better extension, and for me, for $240, it sounds pretty darn good. There's a lot of options out there for a wired IEM that could work for you. Now, you would have to get a dongle DAC, but I mean, Awful P7 with the dongle DAC, you're still looking at around $300, which is cheaper, or you could even get a Moondrop DSP cable. There are other IEMs out there, again, like the Cadence with, that even comes with a DSP option at that price point, which makes that even a compelling option in its price point. For me, if I was going to spend $400, I would go for a Meteor used. I really like the Moondrop Meteor. I think it's fantastic. I just reviewed it recently. I bought one. It didn't get a lot of hype because it is a little bit neutral bass. I think with the name Meteor, people expected a bass head IEM. And it's not a bass head IEM, but it's a nice IEM that's very, very well done. And I think that's the thing about the Moondrop Meteor is it's a solid IEM that you can get for just a little bit more. I think the difference for a lot of our people between $400 to $550 becomes kind of a unique thing, and the Concerto gets to be a little bit lost in the ruckus of everything. There are other options. If you really, really want a DSP IEM, I do think the SIMGOT EW300 is a really solid choice with a nice form factor that might really work for you as well. All right, so this is my ranking list for DSP and TWS IEMs. I've kind of put them all here just for simplicity. I'm not a huge fan of DSP and TWS. It's kind of not what I've based my channel off of. It's just, I'm more about wired content and trying to figure out for that end of audio. But when I do have stuff here, I want to give it clear ratings and clear recommendations. And that I do feel that the Moondrop Concerto is a nice IEM. It's solid, I think people are going to enjoy it, but it falls into the realm of I would highly recommend to demo it first or to buy it from a company that you can trust. I know Apos does good returns, and that's a good company where you could buy this and give it a go, and hopefully it'll work for you. You don't have to return it, but if you do, it's nice to know you have a store that will support you in that. And again, I think there is something to be said about the bass. The form factor of the IEM is comfortable, but is the sound really it? Is it really something that's worth that almost $400 pricing? I kind of would have to say no, not at this time, but it might be something to consider. And so I would give a very hesitant recommendation for people that don't spend a lot of money on audio. If you're the kind of guy who spends a lot of money on audio, I have a lot of friends, and I guess I'm kind of like that, where I spend a lot of money to review and just to enjoy. But if you do spend a lot of money, I think, it's something to consider, something to try. but you might end up having to resell it later, or it might just end up sitting on your desk, as I don't think it's the say-all end-all for comfort and for sound. You know, driver technology is one of those things that it's easy to get hyped about. It's easy to get excited about. And, you know, MEMS technology is exciting. It is interesting, and that do have unique situations with them. But the problem with MEMS technology is that it only works up to a certain point. The upper highs aren't really done very well with the MEMS technology, so it's kind of like a mid-range style, you know, a driver. And so it becomes a thing of the implementation of that. What does the implementation mean? The build quality. Are you using resin shells? Are you using metal? Does it feel solid in hand? Do you like the feel and look of it? Does it have a functioning app? And if it doesn't have these things, it becomes hard to recommend to the masses, and becomes something that I feel could work for people, but I have to give a little bit of hesitant caution to the wind that for me personally, I don't really love the Concerto, but I do like it. I do think there's something special to it, and I think if they could fix the air and the treble to this IEM and fix the build quality and do something a little bit different, a little bit more like the Dusk, I think this would be an absolute banger. Or maybe if the price of this was cheaper, I would give it a full recommendation rather than the hesitant recommendation that I'm giving. Again, huge shout out to Apos Audio. They're always very supportive, and they're a great company to work with and a great store to purchase from. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye for now. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Oh, you're expecting a teaser for our next video. Well, we don't have that kind of money. What are you expecting? One of those store reviewers to show up in a saucy little leather number? Go. Oh, I can tell you one thing. We are going to have a collab video. We have no idea what it's going to be. Probably Kryn, maybe Chris, or Joyce. Don't deny it. She's got range. Go. Get out of here. Go.
Go!
Go.
Go on with you!